Hello there, Year 3, and welcome to Set B of our Ancient Greece text. So, as usual with Set B, we are going to go straight into the questions. If you did need me to reread the text, then just go back to the Set A video, and that'll be fine. Then come back for the reveal of the answers. So we're going to go through and see how we can achieve full marks for each question. Diving straight in with the vocabulary section for question 1. Question 1. Look at the paragraph beginning the earliest Greek civilizations. Find and copy one word meaning capture. Find and copy one word meaning capture. So I'm going to be looking at the first paragraph. That's right, first paragraph. Let's see, find and copy one word that means the same as capture. So I'm just skimming through. Find and copy one word that means the same as capture. Yep, it's going to be that last bit there. Seize the city. Seize is my answer. So seize being the word I need to look at. So that's the only thing I need, isn't it? One word, seize. Right, question 2. Look at the paragraph beginning in 800 BC. Which word is closest in meaning to the word split? Which word is closest in meaning to the word split? Look at the paragraph beginning in 800 BC. Which word is the closest meaning to the word split? So it's the second paragraph. Not many words in here really to find it. Yeah, right at the start, divide. Right there, divide. That's the one word I need to write down, just divide. Number 3. In the paragraph beginning, the ancient Greeks held, which word is closest in meaning to the word honour? Tick 1. In the paragraph beginning, the ancient Greeks held, which word is closest to the meaning of the word honour? Is it apologise, feed, inspire, or respect? So what does honour mean? Does it look back at that paragraph? The ancient Greeks held, right there at the bottom, the ancient Greeks held many festivals in honour of their gods. So again, if I replace each word of those, the ancient Greeks held apologise in their gods, no. The ancient Greeks held feed for their gods, no. The ancient Greeks held inspire for their gods, no. The ancient Greeks held respect for their gods. Respect is the word, isn't it? So tick respect for that one. Right, retrieval. Question 4. Complete the table below to show what each god controlled. So we've got the gods, and then we've got what they're in charge of. So we've got Poseidon, Zeus, and Apollo. What were they in charge of? So we know that Poseidon was in charge of, it says right there, was in charge of the sea and horses, so the sea and horses. Zeus was in charge of, well, he was god of the sky, so I'm going to put the sky. It doesn't say he's in charge of it, but he was god of the sky, so the sky is what Zeus is in charge of. And Apollo, sun god, and in charge of music. There you go, music. So Poseidon is in charge of the seahorses, Zeus is in charge of the sky, and Apollo's in charge of music. Right, question 5. Write 2 reasons why the Greeks may have gone to the temple to pray. Write 2 reasons why the Greeks may have gone to the temple to pray. So, again, got to think why they may have gone. So looking back at that paragraph about them praying, people needed help from the gods. They were sometimes went to the temple to pray. They might go if they're feeling sick on a journey. So why might they have gone? So, I put they might have gone if they were feeling sick. They might have gone if they were going on a journey, and possibly for another one if they were worried about their harvest. So that obviously you need 2, but if they're worried about their harvest is another point. Okay, right. Question 6. How did the Greeks celebrate the god Zeus? How did the Greeks celebrate the god Zeus? Well, we know that there's a very famous event that still happens to this day. It is the Olympics, isn't it? The Olympics is something else they do. So how do the Greeks celebrate the god Zeus? Just find the evidence in the text there. Right there in the second last paragraph. To celebrate the god Zeus, for example, the first Greek Olympics were held in the city of Olympia in 776 BC. It's that, isn't it? It's they held the first Greek Olympics. Okay, that is the answer. They held the first Greek Olympics. Right, inference. Question 7. Why would people have worked hard to win an event at the Olympics? Why would people have worked hard to win an event at the Olympics? So again, I've just looked at the Olympics bit. I'm going to find that same paragraph again. It's exactly where it was. So why might people have worked hard to win an event at the Olympics? It says right at the end of the paragraph, if you see, they would be given free meals and the best seats in the theatre. So that is a good answer there, isn't it? Okay. Did I write anything different for mine? I've said because they were given a wreath could also be an answer. because they would be given free meals, or because they'd be given the best seats in the theatre. So anything like that would get you the answer. But yeah, given a wreath as well, they might have been doing it to try and get a wreath. But I think literally right there in the text, they'd be given free meals and the best seats in the theatre. That's what I'd take and write it down. Right. Question 8. Which event at the Olympics was the most challenging? Use evidence from the text to support your answer. Which event at the Olympics was the most challenging? Use evidence from the text to support your answer. So I'm going to look back through where it lists the events. Where does it list the events? So I know the Olympics is. It's going to be the bit underneath. Events at the Olympics, Greeks Olympics included wrestling, boxing, long jump, javelin, discus and chariot racing. So those are the events, okay? But those taking part in wrestling events had to be the toughest, as there were hardly any rules and they had to compete without any clothes on. So which one of those events is the toughest, do you think? Explain your answer. So, even though it says which one do you think, there is only one that is the toughest, okay? And there is evidence in the text to support it. So the toughest one is wrestling. That one has to be the toughest one, okay? Whether or not you think it is boxing, or you might have thought it was javelin, it is definitely wrestling, okay? And the reason is because I can use evidence in the text to support my answer. The reason is because there were hardly any rules and they had to compete without any clothes on. That's what it says in the text. See what I wrote? My answer is wrestling was the most challenging event because there were hardly any rules and they had to compete with no clothes on. That's the answer, okay? That's the only one that's got evidence from the text to back it up. The others don't, okay? So you had to have chosen wrestling, whether or not you thought something else. It is wrestling, okay? Question 9. Why might the Greeks have been scared of upsetting the gods? Use evidence from the text to support your answer. Why might the Greeks have been scared of upsetting the gods? Use evidence from the text to support your answer. Why might they have been scared of the gods? So again, think about the punishments the gods did that we talked about in the previous set of questions. So what were the punishments? Think about that. Why might the Greeks have been scared of upsetting the gods? So here's my answer. I've said because the text says these gods were the toughest. These gods were thought to have special powers and each had control over a different aspect of life. Therefore, the Greeks might have been scared of being punished by the gods. Okay, because we know that the gods can control earthquakes, thunder, the skies, all that sort of stuff. So if people were doing the wrong things, okay, being bad to each other, they might have been worried that the gods might punish them and do something that might seriously hurt or injure or possibly even kill them. Okay, so that's why people were sometimes scared of the gods, okay, or scared of upsetting the gods. Right, meaning as a whole, question 10. Draw lines to match each section to its main content. Draw lines to match each section to its main content. So we've got introduction, we've got dividing their land, we've got gods and Olympics. So those are sort of the paragraphs. And then we've got events included long jump, javelin, discus and chariot racing. Well, we know that one is linked to the Olympics, as we've just talked. So that's the line I draw there, Olympics. A statue of Athena was put in Parthenon. Statue of Athena, we know Athena is one of the gods or goddesses. So I draw that to gods. Sparta was one of the most powerful city-states. Sparta was one of the most powerful city-states. That is, not sure, let's just read the last one. The ancient Greek Empire spread from Greece through Europe. That's at the beginning, isn't it? That's right at the beginning where it's talking about them conquering the city of Troy. That is the introduction. And then the last one is going to match to dividing the land. Sparta was one of the most powerful city-states. That's dividing the land, isn't it? Okay. So, right. Last question. Compare. Which of the gods do you think the Greeks would have been most in fear of? Use evidence from the text to explain your answer. Which of the gods do you think the Greeks would have been most in fear of? Use evidence from the text to explain your answer. So again, I've got 3 lines for this one. I need to be fairly detailed. So, I think you could potentially have 2 different answers here. So I think the main one that I think people should be putting is Zeus, because again we know that he's the main god, okay, as it says in the text that Zeus is king of all the gods, so that's why he's going to be the main important one, isn't he? So which god do you think the Greeks would have been most in fear of? Here's what I wrote. I said I think Zeus is the most scary god because he can cause earthquakes and can hurt people. Sorry, can he cause earthquakes? Wasn't it thunder? What did I write earthquakes? I've written that wrong in mine. Sorry. It's thunderstorms, isn't it? Because he could cause thunderstorms. Yeah. Whereas Artemis, you could potentially say that that one is the most scary because it says there that Artemis can cause the deathly plagues, and plagues are, as we learned with the Pied Piper of Hamelin text, the plague is something that's very serious and can kill lots of people. Okay, but Artemis had the power to create deathly plagues. So you could have argued Artemis. I would have said there because it says Artemis had the power to send deathly plagues, but she could heal people too. So that one sort of veers it the other way, doesn't it? If you could sort of heal people too, then maybe not. But I'd have given you Artemis if you'd have justified it correctly, or Zeus. Artemis or Zeus, as long as your explanation is clear. Right, so there we go. That is the last question. So thank you very much. I do hope we enjoyed doing a non-fiction text. There will be more non-fiction text to come as we move on. Yeah, do treat them in the same sort of way as the others. It's just we have to read and understand them in a different way, but it is important we understand non-fiction text too, so we will be doing more of those as we move ahead. So thank you very much, everyone, and take care, because tomorrow we are going to be doing a independent short comprehension text as usual, so we will be doing that tomorrow with no video. So yeah, take care, and I'll see you tomorrow.